Welcome down the line. I'm Christine Williams. Coming up, a look at how to conquer the genetic time bombs of aging and disease. Stay tuned. The cosmetic industry is booming as people try to minimize the visual effects of aging. Other issues as we get older, declining mental and physical health, but it doesn't have to be that way. The most effective way to slow down the aging process is from the inside out. And you'll find out how during the next hour. My guest is here to give us tips on how to look and feel great as you age. Dr. James Meschino is on the board of directors at the Academy of Anti-Aging Research. He's also a clinical and research director of the Renaissance Institute of Integrative Medicine, and he's authored 4 books, including the Meschino Optimal Living Program and the Wrinkle-Free Zone. Our lines are open, and we love to hear from you, as you know, so give us a call at any time and try to call in early today. Dr. Meschino, it's great to have you back.
Hi, Christine, it's good to see you again. It's been a while.
It certainly has been. And you're continuing, as always, your research when it comes to aging. The population is getting older, as they say.
Yeah, the population's aging. I mean, I continue to, read the major journals every month where the research is being published and go digging deep to see what's new and are the trends continuing on. And it's never been more important than right now for people to recognize how much they can be doing for themselves in a proactive way to not just slow the aging process, but when you slow the aging process, you are also decreasing your risk of cancer and heart disease and dementia and osteoporosis and other things that can catch up with you and make your life pretty miserable.
And we seem to be having an epidemic on diseases, aren't we, Dr. Meschino?
Well, compared to other countries that are still worried about tuberculosis and infectious diseases and HIV,
Not so bad?
Yeah, I mean, it's better, but we have the opportunity living in the more modern parts of the planet that we can largely choose our health destiny. People don't realize that 15% of the cases of cancer that show up are for genetic reasons, but 85% are because the person, whether they realize it or not, caused it to occur in their own body through faulty dietary and lifestyle behaviors. That's what the National Cancer Institute says. And the same is true for heart disease and stroke, vascular conditions, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, largely preventable diseases that actually monopolize the healthcare budget. People have these problems at alarming rates, but these are highly preventable in the majority of cases, and that goes unrecognized. That's really the disturbing part of it.
I think it's a very critical point that you mentioned that word choice. A lot of people still believe 2 things, and you touched on it now when it comes to genetics, but I'm wondering if these can be considered myths. I have bad genes because our family has XYZ disease, whatever they may be. But another side is, as you get older, well, of course you're going to decline. Of course you're going to lose your memory and start again getting to the point where you've got one of the dementias in some form. A lot of people just accept this.
Well, we accept it because we haven't really been taught otherwise. And so if you just watch the news every day, you'll see that they discovered a gene for breast cancer, a gene for Alzheimer's. Right. So it looks like, gee, I hope I didn't get those genes. It's all about genes. But I think that the best, sort of example I can cite is there's a genetic type of breast cancer. Most women know this, that if they happen to inherit what's called the BRCA1 mutant gene, that they have a much higher risk for developing breast cancer, as an example. So we know that Ashkenazi Jewish women around the world have the highest occurrence of that genetic defect. That's an established medical fact. It occurs at 2.5% in that population versus less than 1% in the rest of the female population in every country that's been studied. So Jewish women of the Ashkenazi origin tend to have a much higher incidence of breast cancer because the gene is there. But in Brazil, even though they still have the mutant gene and it increases susceptibility, their incidence of breast cancer is not high. And they say, why? They have the gene, why don't they have the cancer? Because lifestyle, how the person feeds themselves, If you get nutrients that protect your genetic material, that cause your cells to divide at a slower rate, not a faster rate, and you put nutrients into your body that choke off cancer cells that are emerging, you can still prevent these cancers even if the genetic susceptibility is there. And that's how it is for most diseases. Even if you've got a gene that puts you at risk, it's like the loaded gun. But people pull the trigger.